Welcome back to Phoenix English classes. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is Deep Water. It is written by William C. Douglas and we have already discussed it in the online class, in the live session. That William C. Douglas is very important writer for India also. The reason was already explained. Today we will start with the text. Let's start with the text. Open your books at chapter number 3. The title is Deep Water and we will start from the very first line today. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. Here I is William C. Douglas, is the writer. The writer says that I was only 10 or 11 years old. What was the age? That doesn't matter. What matters is he was a tiny boy at that time when he decided, when he took a firm decision that he would learn swimming. And for that, there was a club, YMCA, Young Men Christian Association, that offered swimming in the pool in Yakima River, and the writer decided to go there to learn swimming. That was the opportunity to get there at YMCA Blue Pool that was situated in Yakima River. The Yakima River was treacherous, but the problem was one. Yakima River was a treacherous river. Sometimes it is said treacherous. It was a treacherous river. It means the river was wicked enough. The river was mischievous enough. How can a river be mischievous or wicked? If there is uneven surface underwater, at places it may be too deep. There are ditches in the water on the banks. The river will certainly become dangerous, and such rivers will sure invite people to drown in them if they are novice, if they are not well versed in the art of swimming. They will sure get into trouble, and that was the history of Yakima River. Whosoever had gone to Yakima River without a proper training or was a novice, no doubt the accident happened sooner or later and resulted into drowning and death. Yakima was a treacherous river. Mother continually warned against it, and it was known to the parents of the writer, William Douglas. Parents were very much concerned. The father said nothing. Yet, the mother was very much anxious. She was very much worried. And she continuously warned Mr. Douglas, tiny Mr. Douglas, in his childhood, in his boyhood. She warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. As soon as he decided to go to Yakima River for swimming, to learn swimming, mother warned him, and she gave all the details of all the drownings, all the stories that were there in the air, that were true also. All the stories of drowning were fully explained by the mother, so that the boy should not be careless at the time when he is in the Yakima River. But the YMCA pool was safe. That was the thought, that was the concern of mother. But what William C. Douglas was thinking, that is another thing. Children do not care too much about such things when they think that where they are going, that is safe. And YMCA pool was very safe because it was shallow. It was only 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other, the drop was gradual. The pool where he had to learn swimming, that was safe because at one side the water was not too deep. It was only 3 or 4 feet. No one can sink there, no one can drown there. But on the other end, the depth of water was a bit higher than it, higher than that should be safe for a child. 9 feet means any grown-up man will not be able to stand there where it was deep. But the safety was so good that this depth was gradual. At the side it was very shallow, then a bit deeper, then a bit deeper, then almost 9 feet deep at the deepest end. I got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. When he went there to learn swimming, he was given water wings to tie on his arms so that he may be on the surface and learn swimming. You would have seen the children and young men. They use water bags, water tubes around their waist, on the arms to learn swimming because it supports the body to float on the water, and gradually the art of swimming is learned by the wise one, by the learners, and as soon as they are expert ones, these safety wings and tubes are removed from the body and they are now ready for swimming. I hated to walk naked into it and show my skinny legs. There was another. This is the problem of many teenagers, boys, children also, everybody. Because he was a lean and thin boy, especially his legs were very thin, like ostrich. William C. Douglas was ashamed of him to show the skinny legs. And if you have to go into the water for swimming, certainly you have to put off your clothes. But he was a bit ashamed. How can he put off his clothes in front of so many eyes when they are looking at his legs that were that of an ostrich? It was too thin. He was ashamed, but he tried to overcome it, and he subdued his pride and did it. And he thought, if I have to learn swimming, I have to get naked. I have to show my skinny legs to everybody, either they laugh at it or not. I have to leave my shame. Somehow he could overcome this problem. He subdued his pride of looking as a gentleman. If you are naked, you are not at all a gentleman, and especially if your legs are too tiny. It is the thought of the boys and teenagers. It is not the thought of the grown-up ones. From the beginning, however, I had an aversion to water when I was in it. But there was another problem. Besides all these things, there was another problem, that the writer had a kind of aversion, a kind of repulsion, a kind of distaste for water. The reason was not unknown also. The writer was aware of the reason why he is so much repelled from water. There was a reason behind it. This started when I was 3 or 4 years old and father took me to the beach in California. He explains the reason why he was afraid, or he was feeling a kind of detachment or aversion from water. The reason lies in his utter childhood, when he was only 4 years old. This incident had taken place. His father had taken him to the sea beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf, and they were standing there on the surf, on the beach. Surf is the place on the beach where the waves come speedingly and they wash us, and then they receive back. That part of the shallow water where the pressure of the waves are sometimes too strong, and the coming and going ebb and flow of the water is continued. That kind of a place is called surf. the surface using some board etc. is also called surfing. When they were standing on the surf, there happened this incident. I hung on to him. I was sitting on his shoulders and I had caught him. I had caught him by the neck, by the waist. Yet the waves knocked me down and swept over me. But the waves were so strong that when the wave came, it was so strong and there was so much of force in the wave that he could not hold his father, and as soon as the clutch, the grip was loose, he was washed ashore. The wave took him away from his father, and at that time when he was washing ashore, when he was floating with that wave, he felt the same feeling of drowning into the water because there was all around water. I was worried in water at that time when he could not hold his father. Grip was not so tight, or it was so tight. It was too tight, but not so tight that that can stand against the power of the wave. He was washed ashore. His clutch was loose, and it seemed to him that he was buried in the water. He was fully covered with water from all sides. It means he was drowned into that wave. My breath was gone. I was frightened. As soon as he was inside water, the wave enveloped him. He felt that he was choking because he did not have anything that he could see or he could breathe. He was completely enveloped in water, and that was the time when he felt that my breath has gone. He was frightened. So little a child of 4 years will certainly get frightened. He was also a 4-year-old child, and he was naturally frightened. Father laughed. On seeing him, because father knew he was out of danger and there is nothing that is going on bad, or there would be no harm done to the child, the father was laughing on seeing him rolling in the wave. But there was terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the wave. Although father was laughing on seeing the boy rolling in the water. He thought the boy is enjoying. But the real thing was that the boy was afraid as anything. And he thought the danger of his life. He was suffocated. He was choked. And he felt that he was completely overpowered by the power of the wave. So that was a bad incident that had taken place when William O. Douglas was only 4-year-old, and this incident had made an indelible impact on his mind, and this was the reason why he had an aversion for water when he went there to learn swimming. My introduction to the YMCA swimming pool received unpleasant memories, revived unpleasant memories, and stirred childish fear. His introduction with that pool, YMCA pool, where he was to learn swimming, that revived all the bad memories of the danger he had felt with water in his childhood. It was all revived once again. The old memories had come afresh to him, and the old fear was revived. He was afraid of water on seeing it in the pool. Ultimately, that was the incident that had taken place, and he could not forget that. But in a little while I gathered confidence. But because at that time he was only 4 years, and now he is grown up to 10 or 11 years. There was a long time gap. The memories were not so strong, and he had composed himself, and he was now more courageous. He had more strength, and perhaps he was in a more safe place than he was in California when he was with his father at that time. Thinking all these things, he gathered confidence. I paddled with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them. Now he started learning. How he started learning? Because he had water wings on his arms and on his waist. There was some kind of tube. Even if he doesn't do anything, he will float on water. So there was no problem, no danger of, no fear of drowning into the pool. And descending into the pool, he saw other boys learning the same thing. He started aping them. Aping them means he started copying them. Ape is a species of the monkeys, and they are full of the instinct of making copy of anything they see. Any action they see, they watch, they try to imitate it. That's why this word has been coined as aping. I was doing the work that the apes generally do on seeing something being done. As the apes copy or imitate the actions of others, I was copying the action, the movements of the other boys who were also learning swimming there in the pool. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in the water when the misadventure happened. This went on, this aping, this imitating other boys to learn swimming, that went on for 2 or 3 times on different days. On different days, he tried it 2 or 3 times. Whenever he went to the pool, he tried it twice or thrice a day. And for some days, it went on peacefully. There was nothing happened that was to be worried, or that was to be noticed that there was any danger. But after some days, when he practiced with the wings, after some days, there was another misadventure that had taken place. This misadventure made another impact, that was bad impact in the mind of the writer. I went to the pool when no one else was there. The incident, rather we should say the accident, happened when there was no other else there around the pool. He was all alone. He went there. There was solitary all around. There was nobody inside. And he reached the pool. The place was quiet. There was calm and serene atmosphere. There was a quiet atmosphere all around because there was no movement of anybody. There was nobody present at all at the pool. The water was still. It shows that of late nobody had even entered the pool. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tiled bottom was white and clean as a bathtub. He looked into the water. The bottom of the pool was visible, and it was so good that he could see the tiles that were placed there on the bottom. It was clean. It seemed that it was not a pool, it was a bathtub in your house. I was timid about going in alone. I was afraid. There was a kind of repulsion because the water repulsion was always there. There was an aversion of water in his mind, and because he was all alone, he was not willing to descend in water in the pool because he was all alone. So I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. I decided not to enter the water. I decided not to go into the water. William Douglas. He decided that he will sit here on the side of the pool and will not enter water unless and until others also come, so that there would be people to see me if I am in danger, if there is a danger. I had not been there long when In came a big rooster of a boy, probably 18 years old. I was sitting there, and it was not too long. After a few minutes, another big rooster of a boy who was who had an athlete body. Perhaps he was a boxer. He came and saw me. I also noticed him. He was perhaps 18 years old. It means he was quite older to me. He had thick hair on his chest, and he was an adult teenager. He had hair on his chest. That shows the boy was not a child. He was not even a boy, but he was a matured person. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen because he had been perhaps a boxer. He was a boxer. That's why his body was very handsome. He had a very good athlete body. The physical specimen was very good, with legs and arms that showed crippling muscles. And because he took care of himself, he worked out like a man. That's why his body was muscular and it was in good shape from everywhere, from every inch. He had a very beautiful body with beautiful muscles that seemed to ripple on his hands, his leg, his chest, everywhere. He had high skill. How would you like to be dubbed? And on seeing the writer, because he had a skinny leg and he was very much ashamed of it, the boy, also as the boy noticed, as William O. Douglas noticed the body of the grown-up boy, the 18-year-old young man. The young man also noticed the body of the boy, and he noticed that he had skinny legs. And he tried to crack a joke on him, high skinny. He said him, high skinny, how do you like to be dubbed? Would you like if I throw you into the water? With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep end. He did not say these words only. With these words, shall I duck you into the water? He lifted William O. Douglas up and he threw him into the water. When he threw him into the water, because he was very lean and thin and a very light boy, his weight was not so much, and the other boy was a producer of a boy. He had quite a good strength in his body. He threw him in the pool at the end where the water was really too deep, 9 feet deep, and that was too deep for a boy of 10 years. I landed in a sitting position. When he threw him into the pool, because William O. Douglas was sitting beside the pool, he threw him, he landed on the water in the same sitting position, and he was going into the water. Swallowed water and fed at once into the water. Because it was so sudden, he could not have any time or he could not do anything against the strength of such a boy. And at once he was on the bottom of the pool. He became conscious what has happened to him. He found himself at the bottom on the deepest end, in the deepest end of the pool. And he had swallowed quite an amount of water. I was frightened. But not yet frightened out of my legs. Sure, I was frightened because I was drowned into the water and I was in the deepest end. It was too deep, almost too deep for me, for the boy like me, who was only 10 years old. He was frightened, but not so frightened that he would lose his senses. He was still in his senses. He still had his wits alive. He was thinking. On the way down, I planned. When he was going down, when he was thinking in the pool, he was thinking and he made a plan. When my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it and paddle to the edge of the pool. When he was drowning into the water, his senses were working. And he planned that as soon as I touch the bottom, because I would be drowned completely, and on the bottom I would have a solid surface, I will try to jump as much as I could. I will firmly plant my feet there on the bottom and will jump, and this will throw me up on the surface of the water. As soon as I am on the surface, I will start flapping my hands and feet and will try to go on the other end where water was shallow, and once I reach there, I will be safe. That was the plan that was going on in the mind of the writer. It seemed a long way down. Although his plan was very good as he was thinking, but when you are in the water, the things get changed. It took too much of time than he had expected. He expected that soon I will be on the bottom of the pool and I will make a leap. He says, those 9 feet were more like 90, and before I touched the bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. What really happened, that was pathetic, that was full of fear and alarming. The depth of 9 feet seemed to me that I had gone underwater about 90 feet. The 9 seemed 90 to me, and before I touched the bottom, and before I could touch the bottom with my feet, I could feel that I am on the bottom and I have to make a leap up. He had swallowed so much of water through his nostrils that his lungs were filled, completely filled with water, and he was choking. It seemed that his lungs would burst. He had drunk so much of water through his nostrils and it was deposited into his lungs that it was completely choked and he was suffocated. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength and made what I thought was a great spring upwards. But my plan was there. Also, although it was later than I expected, but when it happened, when I felt that there was a solid bottom, there was a solid surface under my feet, I executed my plan and I tried to jump as much with so full of strength as I had at that time in my body. I did it with my full strength. What I had imagined, I would bob to the surface like a cork. What I had thought in my plan, that as soon as there is a solid surface under my feet, I will make a full jump and I will come out of water like a cork from the bottle. When you open a cork from the bottle with a force, it is seen jumping into the sky. He thought of himself that he will jump out of water as we open a cork from the bottle. But it did not happen, it was not like that. Instead, I came up slowly. My plan was very good, but it was executed not in the way I had thought because I did not have any idea of the nature of water. Although he made a leap up, although he made a jump as soon as there was solid surface under his feet, but coming out was so slow he did not expect. I came up slowly. It was very much unlike a cork. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. When he thought that I would have come out of water, my head would have come out of water. He opened his eyes and found there was water around him. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. There was all around water and there was a dirty tinge of yellow hue in the water. I grew panicked. Now I was really panicked. I was really afraid. And I tried my best, but I could not come to the surface of the water. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands and nose came out of clutched only at water. I was suffocating. Now I was all afraid. Now I tried to paddle my hands so that if there is somebody out of the pool, he would see my hands, or perhaps I can draw my neck over the surface of the water and can breathe. He tried it, but he was unable to do anything because his hands clutched only water. There was no rope. He was trying as if he was trying to clutch the rope and coming out, but there was no rope in the water. I was suffocating. Now he started suffocating. I tried to yell, but no sound came out, and he started to cry. He started to shout. But in the water, there was only a sound of gulp, and there was no voice that could come out to bring him any kind of help. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. This was the time when he was being suffocated and he was trying to speak something. At that time, his eyes and his nose came on the surface. Means he felt that I could bring air into the lungs. But his mouth did not come out. So what he tried to shout could not go out of water. It was submerged into the water. We'll stop here today for the next lines and rest part of the story. Please keep subscribing, keep watching, keep updated, and keep studying also. If you have any problem, please write to me on my personal WhatsApp number. And if you have not subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe. The material will be sent on this channel only continuously, and we will complete this chapter in coming days. Goodbye. Have a nice video. Peace and